Started. My name is Mandy. I am from Searcy, Arkansas. My husband's the youth minister at Westside there. And we used to live here 20 years ago. I moved here, and then in 2014, we moved and went to several other places. But it's good to be kind of back and seeing some familiar people and hanging out with some people that I've met between living here and being back. So it's been really good. We are going to be in Judges chapter 6. If you want to go ahead and turn there, we are going to be talking a little bit about Gideon. Well, a lot about Gideon. I want you to think about a time, or maybe it's now. Have you ever felt like everything is against you? You have so much on your plate. You have a lot weighing you down. Have you ever felt like everything that you did was hard? People were just fighting against you. Everybody was against you. Your parents were against you. Maybe your school was against you. Your teachers. There's too many projects and too much stuff, and maybe you didn't feel good on top of it. There are just all of these things coming at you, and stress and anxiety and depression and sadness and fear and loneliness and just everything weighing down on you. Have you ever felt that way? That's kind of where we find Gideon. The Midianites had been attacking the Israelite people. They had been taking their food. The Midianites were taking their food, the Israelites' food, and their animals. And the Israelites were hiding in caves and in mountains and anywhere that they could figure out a place to be safe. They lived in fear every single day. I want you to think about if someone, or if you were to make a pan of brownies, like your favorite brownies ever, and you get finished with them, sitting on the stove, cooling, and when you come back, they're all gone. Somebody has taken all of them, and you get none of them. Is that going to make you very happy? You're going to be pretty mad, right? A little bit frustrated. Like, why is everybody taking my brownies? Okay, what if you had to make dinner that night and somebody came in and took all of your dinner? You got none of it. What's your favorite dinner? What's your favorite dinner? What is it? My daughter loves mac and cheese. Yeah, mac and cheese. Somebody came and took all of it. Make you pretty mad. What if you made dinner every single night for a year and somebody took your food every single day? Every day, somebody was coming and taking it. What would that be like? Depressing? Would you start hiding your food? Would you start storing it away so that you could have some later and pretending like there's this other stuff? We find this nation hiding and trying to keep things so that they can just survive. We find Gideon in Judges chapter 6. We're going to back up. The people cried out to God because of all of this. They were afraid and they said, God, can you please help us? So look at verse 7. Judges chapter 6, verse 7. When the people cried out to the Lord on account of the Midians, the Lord sent a prophet to the people of Israel, and he said to them, Thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, I led you up from Egypt, and I brought you out of the house of slavery, and I delivered you out of the hand of the Egyptians, and from the hand of all who oppressed you, and drove them out from before you, and gave you their land. So God did all that for them. And I said to you, I am the Lord your God. When you see Lord, when it's in all caps like that, that means Yahweh. So I am Yahweh your God. You shall not fear. Fear means respect or worship. Some translations say you will not worship. You will not worship or fear or respect the gods of the Amorites who are in the land. But they did not obey his voice. Not all of the time is our anxiety and our stress and our depression, is that linked to sin. Not always. Sometimes it is. In this particular case, it was. Not the Amorites. The Israelites were not doing what they were told to do. They weren't worshiping God. They were worshiping other gods. And an angel came to Gideon. So now we get to Gideon. We see that the people weren't doing what they wanted. What God wanted. The scene is set. Verse 12. And an angel of the Lord appeared to him, that's Gideon, and said to him, "The Lord is with you, O mighty man of valor." Let's talk about that for a second. Let's back up. Where was Gideon? While his son Gideon, that's Joash's son, was beating out wheat in a wine press, hiding from the Midianites. Where was Gideon?
He was hiding.
He was hiding, but what did this angel of the Lord call him?
Mighty man of valor. Probably
Mighty man of valor. What were you saying?
Probably because of what was about to happen.
So God knows some things that Gideon doesn't know. Yeah. Let's think about this wheat in a wine press situation. What's a wine press?
You smash grapes.
You smash grapes to make wine. What does he have? Does he have grapes? He has wheat. Do you guys know what you're supposed to do with wheat? Like how you process wheat? Well, I want you to think about a wine press. A wine press was a pit. Like you went down into this pit area to smash the grapes to take care of all of the grapes to make wine. It's a pit. He was supposed to be up on a hill with the wheat because the wind was needed in order to get rid of the chaff that you don't want and keep the wheat berries. You want to keep the heavy stuff. Does wind flow very well through a pit? No. So he was afraid. He was in this pit. He was trying to hide the food from the Midianites, and yet he was making his job harder. Have you ever been in that situation before where you're afraid and you're frustrated and you're trying to maybe like hide from things, but it ends up making life harder? That ever happened? That's where Gideon is. He's afraid and he's making jobs harder, all because of this fear and because of the sin that's in his nation. Let's keep going. So we have this angel who comes and says, "Mighty man of valor." And Gideon said to him, "Please, my Lord, if the Lord is with us, why then has all this happened to us? Where are all his wonderful deeds that our fathers recounted to us, saying, Did not the Lord bring us up out of Egypt? But now the Lord has forsaken us and given us into the hand of the Midians." And the Lord turned to him and said, "Go in this might of yours," this might of Gideon's. Think about that. Where is he? He's in a pit, hiding. And now he's being told that he has might. Does that seem right? Seems a little off to me. I'm thinking maybe he's not very strong. And he's not very faithful. And he's not very... there's no valor. He's not a warrior. Some of them will say man of valor. It'll say warrior. A mighty warrior. Does this sound like a warrior to you? Somebody who's hiding in a pit? Yeah, I don't think so either. Go in this might of yours and save Israel from the hand of Midian. Do I not send you? Okay, so he's being told to go. Are you getting this picture in your heads? There's this guy in a pit. He's scared. And he's being told to go fight the Midianites. Who's going? Raise your hand if you're going to go do this. You're scared to death. This is the guy, right? This is the guy that we should pick? The guy who's scared? Doesn't seem like the best choice. And Gideon doesn't think that he's the right choice either. He says in verse 15, and he said to him, this is Gideon talking, "Please, Lord, how can I save Israel? Behold, my clan is the weakest in Manasseh, and I am the least in my father's house." And the Lord said to him, what? What does he say? verse 16. The Lord says, I will be with you. God knows something that he doesn't know. Gideon's not really convinced. So he asks for a sign. He says, okay, if you are who you say you are, then I want you to give me a sign. So he says, I am going to make you some meal. I'm going to make you some bread and some meal, and I'm going to bring it to you. So he brings this food to an angel. And the angel says, I want you to put it on this rock. So he puts it on the rock, and he pours broth over it. If you pour broth over food, what happens to the food?
It's wet.
It gets wet, soggy sometimes. It's wet. And this angel lights it on fire, burns it. Have you ever tried to burn wet wood?
Yes.
What happens when you try to burn wet wood?
I don't burn.
It doesn't burn. It does not work very well. It maybe smokes a little if it's not terribly wet, but wet wood does not burn. So he's pouring food and this angel lights something on fire. What does that tell Gideon? Does that maybe like pique his interest? Like, okay, wait. He just set this wet stuff on fire. Okay? So that's the first sign. So we've got God is starting to work in this situation. God is starting to show Gideon exactly who he is. Let's look at verse 25. Now, he has Gideon's attention. God needs Gideon to do something first. Before we can go save Israel, we've got something to do. Verse 25. That night the Lord said to him, take your father's bull and the second bull, 7 years old, and put down an altar of Baal that your father has, and cut down the Asherah that is beside it, and build an altar to the Lord your God on top of the stronghold here, and with stones lay it in order. Take the second bull and offer it as a burnt offering with the wood of the Asherah that you shall cut down. So Gideon took 10 men of his servants and did as the Lord told him. And because he was too afraid of his family and the men in town to do it by day, he did it by night. So he did what he was told, but what are we seeing?
He's still afraid.
He's still afraid. I get that. You ever been afraid to do something? Maybe somebody that is really important to you comes up to you. You are scared. You are worn down. You are tired. And this friend says, hey, I really want you to do this. I know that you are strong enough to do this. You respect this person. Does it at least make you want to try? Maybe you want to try. But does it take away your fear of whatever it is? Maybe not. It may not take away all of the emotions. So they took down that idol and they got rid of the sin. Getting rid of the sin is very, very important. Think about, they were worshiping other gods, right? Okay, so I want you to think about this. This is similar to Israel. Let's think of Israel as a guy. And he is a guy and he comes up to you and he wants to take you out to dinner because he needs help with his homework. And you're like, okay, I get a free dinner out of it. That's fine. But you also find out that he has a lot of other girls. He has a lot of girlfriends, actually. Quite a few. Can't really count the number of girlfriends he has. People have tried. Is that somebody you want to go out to dinner with? No. Do you want to help him with his homework? No. Because he's got all these other girls. That's Israel talking to God. And God's like, wait a second, you have all of these other idols on the side and you're wanting me to help you. Well, we've got some work to do first, right? If that guy's really interested in you, like, you gotta get rid of all those other girls. We can't have this. We're not gonna have you cannot have me as a date and all of that, right? That's what he is. That's what God is saying. He's like, you gotta get rid of the idols. I am the only one you are supposed to worship. I am the only one who is supposed to be the one that you go to for help. So We have to get rid of the sin. We have to get rid of the things that are not of God. Look at verse 36. Gideon gives him another test. Does God care if we ask him for a sign? Did God care when Gideon says, well, if you will just give me a sign, show me a sign? That's what it says in verse 17. Did God get mad? Nope, he didn't get mad. He showed him a sign. So now we've got this one, 36. Then Gideon said to God, if you will save Israel by my hand as you have said, behold, I am laying a fleece of wool on the threshing floor. If there is dew on the fleece alone, and it is dry on all the ground, then I shall know that you will save Israel by my hand as you have said. And it was so. When he arose the next morning and squeezed the fleece, it wrung enough dew from the fleece to fill a bowl with water. That's a lot of water, like squeezing a washcloth and it filling up a bowl. I don't know how big this bowl was. Does it really matter? Like even a little bowl, you can fill up a little bowl with you squeeze it out. That's a lot of water. So we have this first sign. This is God showing Gideon that what? What did God say that he would do? When Gideon said, I can't do this, what was God's reply? Verse 16. I will be with you. So what is God doing through this whole thing? What's he showing Gideon?
That he's with him.
He's showing him that he's with him. So let's look at another one. Verse 39. Then Gideon said to God, let not your anger burn against me. Let me speak once more. Please let me just test this one more time. Just another one, right? Is God going to get mad? It's not. He's just going to help Gideon. I think God knows when we need to see him, and he shows up. God is showing up. Please let it be dry on the fleece only, and then wet on the ground. And God did so that night. And it was dry on the fleece only, and on all the ground on all the ground was dew. God was showing up. He needed a sign, and he got one. He's showing that God is with him. So, Gideon gathers up his army. He's starting to believe, okay, God's going to do this. So he gathers up his army. How many people, how many men does he get? How many soldiers?
A lot.
It's a lot of soldiers. 32,000. 32,000 soldiers. That's a pretty good sized army. However, how big is Midian's army?
A lot bigger.
A lot bigger. You can't count the number of people in Midian's army. It says there's numerous as locusts. Well, I don't really know much about locusts, but I know a lot about ants. You ever get ants in your house? Yes, I hate it. Can you count them when they're in your house? No, they're just everywhere. And imagine them all filling your entire countertops. Is that something that you would want? I don't want that. Can you count them? No, it's so many. So we still have 32,000 versus a number of an army that we can't count. But what does God say about this army?
You can beat him.
It's too big. Why is it too big? Look at verse 2, chapter 7, verse 2. Then God said to Gideon, the people who are with you are too many for me to give Midian into your hands, lest Israel should boast and say, my own hand saved me. What is God wanting to show? His power. He's wanting the Israelites to see his power. He's wanting them to see that he is the one who is with them, not the other gods. He's wanting the rest of the nations around them to know that he is with Israel, and it's not just Israel doing this stuff himself. But, so that army's too big. So he takes it down to 10,000. It's less. Still a decent number, right? What does God say about that?
Still too big.
That's still too many. 10,000. Would you go to battle with 10,000? I don't really want to go to battle at all. But if I were a soldier, maybe. Okay, 10,000. But it's still versus the amount of people that we can't even count. But it's still too big. 10,000 is too big. And he whittles it down to how many? Anybody know? 300. 300 is the number that God takes to battle. 300 is I think the attendance here today is about 300. Okay? So that's all of us in this building going against all of Fayetteville. That sounds doable, right? Who's in? No takers on that? That sounds pretty impossible, doesn't it? Here's what God says to Gideon. He is going to show him another sign. He says, I want you to go down to Midian. Just go down there. So he goes down at night. In verse 13. When Gideon came, behold, a man was telling a dream to his comrade. And he said, behold, I dreamed a dream, and behold, a cake of barley bread tumbled into the camp of Midian and came to the tent and struck it so that it fell and turned upside down so that the tent lay flat. And his comrade said, this is no other than the sword of Gideon, the son of Joash, the man of Israel. God has given into his hand Midian and all this camp. So these men knew that Gideon was going to take over Midian. God was showing up again. Are you seeing this? Seeing God is showing up throughout all of this. He is saying, I said that I would be with you. Look, I am with you. Here's the fleece. Look, I am with you. See these people? They already know. Remember, I'm with you. So he gathers his army of 300 and he gives them some weapons, right? He doesn't. He does not give them weapons. I need an army. I need 5 girls to help me. I need you to be super energetic. Anybody have energy? I know it's so tiring right now. It's 3 o'clock. Do we have? Okay. I need 3 or 5. I don't care. 3. All right. Come on up. I need some more. Ladies, y'all can help too if you want. You got it. Excellent. Okay. I've got 3. Yes. Come on. Do I get one more? Is that too much? Come on up. Come on. I'll do 6. That's fine. All right, so I've got my army, and I'm going to give you guys some weapons. You ready for your weapons?
Yes.
Okay. The first weapon I have is a trumpet. Okay, so here you go. Pick your trumpet. Pick your trumpet. Choose. That one is a good trumpet. You just blow on it really hard. It's really loud. It's a great trumpet. Good choice. Good choice. Same with that green one. Good choice. All right, go ahead and try them out. Make sure that they work. Yes, excellent. Excellent trumpet. So some of them, if you have a kazoo, that's a hum. You have to hum with that. So that one, just blow. I don't know. Blow on that one. That one. Blow on it really hard. Let's see. That's just a whistle. There we go. Yeah. All right, we got our trumpets. Okay. The other weapon that you get is a glass jar. So take your glass jar. You got your glass, just one. Yeah, I know these are kind of stuck together. So you've got your jar. These are perfect weapons for fighting, aren't they? Excellent choice. And then we do get a torch. That's somewhat helpful, right? Okay, so did you know that in other countries this is called a torch?
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
That is cool.
It's perfect. I'm this is the best Gideon story because in Australia and New Zealand they call this a torch, and I just think it's wonderful. Okay, so here you go.
You could do a sense and light Fox's tails on fire and
we could. Thankfully we don't have to do that. Oh, good. I have 6 torches. Perfect. Okay, so Gideon gets his army together. you guys are now Midian. Congratulations, because you chose not to join. Now you're Midian. Okay. I need to get my army together, so if you can talk about how you're going to take us over amongst yourselves, you guys come over here. Okay. Okay, so here's what we're doing. Okay. Oh, I'll take the cards. They will not be able to see them. Don't show the cards. Okay. All right, so. So, Gideon had his army surround the Midianites. They were up on probably more like a hill, and the Midianites were down in the valley, and they were surrounded, and it was night. Yes, it was night. And Gideon had his army set up, and he told his army, he said, I want you to smash your jars. And so their torches shined at Gideon, and they blew their trumpets. And they said, and they shouted, for the Lord and for Gideon. The Midianites, confused, very confused. They did not know what was going on. They came out and they started swinging their swords and killing each other. Let's not do that today. And they were killing each other, and their survivors ran off, and Gideon's army chased after them and conquered them. Gideon had weird weapons. God does that sometimes, you know. He shows up in ways that are very unexpected. The Midianites did not expect to be conquered. The Israelites did not expect to be able to conquer Midian. They were scared. They were afraid. But God gathered people together, not enough to show that it was their power, but to show that it was His. He showed up. All right, y'all can put your stuff over there. Is it too bright? All right, we're not done. We're not done. You can keep your cup if you just really want a souvenir. But I'll take the torches, and then you can keep your whistles. Yes. Yes. I know it's so fun.
I didn't scratch my cup. I just threw it.
That's okay.
Where does the cup go?
Excellent. Put it in the trash over there. That'll work. Okay.
Oh, I missed the trash can. I did not know that was possible.
So, I want you to think God gave them victory enemies in a way that they were not expecting, right? I don't know that anybody would have expected that's the way that we're going to conquer an enemy. I don't know of a military guy that's like, yeah, torches and jars and trumpets, weapons of choice. I want you to think about Gideon hiding in that pit. What got Gideon out of the pit? Because some people will be like, well, he trusted God. Did he really? I mean, he was in a pit. He was questioning God so much. Why have you not done something? Where are the signs? Why is this happening? Why are you letting it happen? Who got Gideon out of the pit? Who got him out? Himself. God. God let him out. God said, look, here I am. Follow me. He showed up. There's a lot of times that we're in a pit and it's so hard to get out of it. But if we are looking for God and following Him, it makes it a little bit easier. One step at a time. One step following God. One step of getting rid of the sin. Sometimes that's a big thing we have to do, is get rid of sin. because it distracts us from God. It distracts us from seeing who God is and what he can do. God showed up numerous times. Do you find God in your life? Do you see him working? One of the things that I started praying for a few years ago was that God would be obvious in my life. Or just, I would see him in an obvious way, that he would make himself known. Not like up here, not like that. But that I would see him working. Because I wanted to know that he did. And I'm telling you, he will show up. It's not always in the big things. It's not in these huge ways where it's not like he says, okay, go get some torches and flashlights and go stand up on a hill. It's not like that, not giant, but it's in the little everyday things. It's in the encouragement that I get from a friend through a text message. When I'm struggling and I get those messages, I'm like, that's from God. I know that it is. I see him sometimes in creation when I'm outside and I'm looking at the trees and the way that they're formed and the way that the leaves hang and the way that the bark moves up the tree. I see him when I watch my chickens. We recently got some little chicks and we gave them to a mama hen, and she took them and she raised them and I didn't have to do anything. It is impressive that God made that. They just do it. The hens would just let the chicks just kind of go around her and tuck under her wings when they were cold. They would follow her and she would show them how to get the food. She would make specific noises that would gather them to her, and she would peck the food and then they would peck the food. She was teaching them how to do all of these things. She would teach them, here's where we go to get water. Here's where we go to sleep. Here's what we do. Here's how we jump up on a roost. God did all of that. There are things in your life where God is working. And I want you to know that it's possible for you to see it. But sometimes we have to ask him, show him to me. Show me that you're working. What pit are you in? I don't want you to tell me right now, but I want you to think about it. Or what pit have you been in? Maybe it's a pit of stress and anxiety. You have so much going on. There's so much worry. Are you seeing God working? Because he is. It's really easy for Satan to get in our heads and we think God's not doing anything. God's not going to fix this. That's where Gideon was. God's not doing anything with this. But he does. And I think Gideon's story shows that. We have this army that surrounds the enemy, and all they had to do is shine a light. All they had to do was obey God. They didn't have to actually do the fighting. They didn't have to fix anything. They just had to obey God. Let's go ahead and pray, and then we will end class. Father, thank you so much for these girls who are here, and thank you for showing up in your word so that we can see you. Thank you for the things that you do in our lives that we sometimes don't see. But thank you for showing up again. We want to see you. And God, I pray that you will make yourself obvious to these girls so that they can know that you are real and that you are God. So that they will worship you and not the other things that get in the way in our lives. Father, let us see you. Let us obey you. Let us get rid of the sin that distracts us from you. We love you and we want to serve you. It's in your Son's name that we pray. Amen. Thank y'all for being here.